Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Barracks, the podcast where service ends, but the story begins. And my name's Gina. I always forget to introduce myself. And today we've got Sian Woodland, who is a amazing veteran and CEO and founder of Woody's Lodge. Hi.
Hi, Gina. Thanks for having me.
Yes, brilliant to have you on. Weirdly, the first female veteran we've had.
Oh, very interesting.
That's kind of why I did it, to try and set up hear more of a female voice, but
Yeah,
I think we're a bit shyer than the men.
I think so, yeah. Find it harder.
Yeah, more reserved. So can you share a bit of your background and how you started your chapter in the military?
Yeah, of course. It started when I was born. I was born in Germany on a British military hospital. My mum and dad were both serving RAF. And as you can imagine, back then, when my mum fell pregnant, she had to leave the military. So we, for 3 years of our life, lived in Germany and then moved to Odium. And I had a complete veteran and serving military upbringing, which was very difficult because when my dad went away to the Falklands or he was on deployment, my mum was left on her own with two children. And obviously I feel loved by my parents and I had such a lovely upbringing. So yeah, so my parents were in the military. Also my granddads were in the military. Like that's all we knew. And when I was in school, I had a dream of being an air hostess. Since the age of 6, I traveled to Australia and I was like, that's my goal. I want to be an air hostess. And then when I finished my GCSEs, I couldn't be an air hostess until I was 21. So I thought, right, do I stay in college, further education, or do I join the military? So spoke with my dad. My brother was kind of in the same boat, and they basically broke it down to us: you either join the army on the front line, go to the RAF and sort of stay within the UK, or go in the Royal Navy and travel the world. So I thought, great, that sounds amazing. So that's when I watched my brother pass out in the Navy. He joined the Navy, and then I thought, that is exactly what I want to do. I want to travel the world. Then 6 months into my training, that's when the Twin Towers went down and kind of everything sort of changed. Afghanistan, Iraq, all of that. So I didn't do any world tours, which I thought I was going to do. I did a few tours down the Mediterranean and the Baltics and down the Gulf region. So I've got 2 medals, which is quite interesting actually, because when I was given the medals, I think, so one of them was a NATO medal, which they said you can't wear. And then the other one was because I was in the Gulf region for over 6 months. And I always just thought that when I left the military and I had these medals, I just always thought like, why would I wear them? And I think maybe because I was in the Navy as well, I just felt like I didn't really do anything to achieve it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really sort of strange feeling. I can't, but now I'm super proud to wear them. I remember my dad actually saying to me on Remembrance Day, I think like a couple of years after I left the military, like, wear your medals on Remembrance Day. And I was like, no, I can't do that. Why would I do that? But now, maybe because I'm in the veterans world, in the veterans space, I'm not sure, but I feel so proud wearing them. And yeah, that's kind of how I became, a Royal Naval communicator.
So you were signals as well.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, isn't it? You know, although you really wanted to be an air hostess, and then you ended up sailing.
Yeah.
Which is
I did become an air hostess. I got to tell you, that was quite funny.
You?
Yeah. So that was quite funny. But yeah, that was always my goal.
Yeah.
And then I just joined the Navy, but I didn't think anything different. I didn't think, I think because I come from a background of like a military background with my mum and dad, I just felt like it was just a easy transition to go into the military. I didn't think I'm a woman, I shouldn't be going in. Like, I don't know. It's just,
Yeah, I never had that of I can't join because I'm a female.
No.
I think I didn't have really, my brother was in the Navy. I think it was just because I was in the cadets and it was
Yeah,
normal.
so yeah, you had that kind of background, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting you say about your medals. I know the first time I ever wore my medals as a civilian was it was two occasions. Was Woody's Lodge Remembrance Day, right?
Oh,
And when we did it in Penarth, and it
yeah.
was torrential rain. So you remember that
Standard,
last
yeah.
year. And then the year before that, I was the cenotaph. I was invited to that, and it was kind of you had to. But until that point, they'd just been in a cupboard, and I'd never, as you said, think about wearing them until
Yeah.
I've become like yourself, involved more with the veterans community, I guess.
Yeah.
But
So funny.
I don't know whether that is the same for men, whether they feel that. But that's where we sort of look about, you know, how you feel veterans, female veterans are sort of represented more.
Female veterans and their experiences are underrepresented. I think that maybe the challenges that we had during service are overlooked. I think maybe it's just easier to, and because it's so male orientated as well, it's just easier to ask the male. You know, like in terms of like the media and ad campaigns and things like that, there's nothing really that shows that female veterans, obviously, when people think of a veteran, they either think of aged veterans or they feel that they think of males. It's very, I don't think you get, I don't know, just,
I
yeah,
think,
I just think we're just underrepresented. And I think that's changing. Definitely think in the like, you know, certainly when, uh, I co-founded Woody's Lodge, and what it is today, I think there's like a force to be reckoned with. I think the female veterans are coming through strong, um, and I think their voices are starting to be heard as well. And I think that the people at the top are starting to want to hear, but not necessarily the bad challenges that they faced within the military. I think that's still challenging.
yeah, there's definitely been a shift, I think, in the last probably couple of years with it, and I think it's been pushed from the government with some of our MPs. You know, Sarah Atherton and stuff. She did a lot of pushing when she was an MP. But yes, it's definitely been a shift. I can see it.
I just think people are speaking out more, aren't they? Females saying, "Hey, I'm a veteran."
Mm.
Like I said, it's same with wearing the medals. I wouldn't necessarily have told people. I probably would have said to people that I was a veteran, but more for the shock value rather than I am a veteran.
Yeah, I know when I first got out and I tried to go and get my prescription for my war pension, I wasn't given it because they were like, "You weren't in the army," and they wouldn't. The chemist was like, "No, you're not a war veteran," and and just would give me. They were like, you know, when you take it, I was like, it's not. So I had to go back and get all my proof to show them, and it was like, yeah. I mean, I was a bit younger, but yeah, it was really. I mean, I don't get that now, probably because I'm getting older. But yeah, it is interesting, and it's good to see a shift in it, and it's organisations that are making that shift, and I think people, you know, you coming on podcasts more, and you're seeing it more.
Yeah.
There's more of a voice, but there's not enough voices yet. So a big part of your life, and obviously, um, you know, where Woody's and we'll talk about that come from is Paul and Woody. How did you how did you meet him? Were you still in?
You'll laugh at this story, Gina. It's so funny. So no, I wasn't. Paul was still serving. And I'd already left the military then. When I left the military, I had my own struggles with homelessness and various other things, which I still find very difficult to talk about now. And it still impacts my life, the struggles that I went through. But I was working in retail as a retail manager. And I was part of a charity fashion show. And Paul was roped in, I think, on a weekend when he had weekend leave. to turn up in his military uniform with a couple of the lads from the Royal Marines to help out at this fashion show. And I was basically stood there in my underwear, about to walk down this fashion show. And he just stood there and was like, "You weren't in the Navy." No, I said to him, I was in the Navy. And he was like, he turned to me and was like, "You weren't in the Navy." And I was like, "Yes, I was." And then that kind of sparked that sort of initial conversation, walked down the catwalk, came back, and then, that's when we started talking and everything sort of went from there.
Yes. So how long were you kind of together before you thought, right, he's the one, he's wooed me
Do you
enough
know
to...
what? I think for both of us, so we were together just a couple of months really, and he went then on a tour of Afghanistan. And obviously that was back in the days of the Paradigm card and 15-minute phone calls back home a week or whatever it was.
with the pager.
And the odd, oh, it was a pager, was it? Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, pages maybe we progress the phones. Yeah, pages.
And maybe then like the odd email. And it was like back in the days where sort of Facebook just kind of came into fruition. The odd Facebook message. So we stayed in contact the whole time. Obviously, he was in Afghanistan, and we used to write bluey messages, not messages, letters. We used to send bluey messages to each other. So that was nice receiving those. And then when he came back, he took me on a date to Nando's. And I thought it'd be like this extravagant, lovely meal. And he took me to Nando's. Yeah.
Nando's in Cardiff.
Yeah. Nando's in Cardiff. I think there was only one actually. It was in the Brewery Quarter.
I think they were posh in those days. It was a new thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
We'll
But
let him off.
I'm not one for like chicken either and like just like full on meaty. So I was a bit like, "Oh, okay." But no, I think it was almost straight away in terms of like how we could communicate, the fact that I understood his job. He didn't really need to explain too much about him going away, and yeah, I just respected what he did and I understood. And I think that was part of the foundation of the relationship.
Yeah. Can you talk a bit about his service and then obviously the impact of that day when you got a phone call?
Yep. So he was a Royal Marine for 9 years, I think, at the time. And he always wanted to be Special Boat Service. In fact, I think we had conversations before and I was like, "You're part of the Special Forces." And he was like, "No, no, shh." I remember us being in a restaurant. He was like, "Don't tell anyone. We can't have these conversations." So that was nice. And I think he was a sniper and different things. So I knew that was always his dream. And obviously I supported him through that. I was very supportive of him in going away and understanding. And yeah, I loved, with Paul, he had a really good work-life balance of like coming home and him being the home person and then obviously going back into the military. So he tried for Special Boat Service. He did the training. I think he finally got badged on his third attempt. First attempt, I think there was something wrong with, I think he had blood tests or something. Something came up and they were like, "Oh, you can't go. We have to sort something out." And then it was actually, he did another blood test and everything was fine. The second time, he broke the little sort of band in your knee whilst he was on Bracken. So he was pulled out then. And then on the third attempt, then, well, technically 4 times. So on his third attempt, he got right through to everything. And then it was at the end of the course was his jumps, where you jump out of the helicopter. I think it was helicopter. And he kind of just had a massive wobble, couldn't do the jumps at all. And they basically said, "Look, you need to jump out of this aircraft. If you don't jump, then you'll never be able to jump at Brize Norton again." So he really went through a difficult time. They pulled him off the course. And I think it was like that's never really happened before. So he had a lot of like the hierarchy of special forces like ringing him and being like what's happened. They then gave him counselling, like special counselling with this head person. I mean, I don't even know how much I can
Yeah,
say.
they must. Well, I think everybody knows what selection is nowadays, but I think they must have really wanted him, because I've never really heard of when you get to your jumps and your squares that you are brought back. So he must have been something really special
So
that
I think he
they
was in top
pushed him.
three.
Yeah.
I think he was in top three over. In fact, when he was in the jungle, he had a ricochet and he had to be flown back to the UK. So he came back, I think, like 2 or 3 weeks early. But he'd done enough for them to see that he had passed that part of it, then let him go home. And then I think the next part then was the jumps, and he had a massive wobble. And then they gave the person that actually counselled him, and he had to go on a Saturday quite often, was the same person that helps the England rugby team to switch off when they do their kicks. And I think it was Johnny Wilkinson at the time. And they've got to sort of zone out when they do the kicks and not think about anything. So he did that for a few weeks. Then he had to go civilian jumps and do all the jumps. And then I think Special Forces then had to persuade Bryce Norton that he was okay to go back on the course, that he'd done all the civilian qualifications. And then, he went back on with a different group, and he passed. And
Yeah,
then,
they must have seen something very, very special in, from what I sort of know,
yeah,
in him to have really, really wanted him
yeah,
on the team.
yeah, it was, and I think even he was quite shocked, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think it was like that extraordinary thing that's never really happened before. So,
Mm.
and then obviously he then did his continuation training on the boat. So he'd already been badged at that point, and then did continuation training on the boats. And that was the time that unfortunately he was killed in a boating accident. I think they call it doom drills.
Yeah, yeah. I've spoken to some of his colleagues about it, which is so like, well, I don't even think the word tragic is even, words can't describe something like that.
So for me, as his partner and supporting him, he used to ring me before he'd go and do his jumps out of the helicopter, and he'd be like, his voice would be quivering. I mean, I probably hate me telling people, but I genuinely thought that he was not coming back. Like, he was that scared to do the jumps. It was almost like he was ringing me to say goodbye before he was doing the jumps. And then, to understand what it meant to him. And then he was killed on a boat on a training accident is just
Hmm.
it just can't process it, really. Haven't been able to
It's
process.
beyond words, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
So in the wake of such profound loss, because you were going to be married, where did you find the strength to grieve such a silent journey? And everybody takes it in different ways, but where did you find the strength to sort of move forward and build something so impactful as Woody's Lodge?
So I think the biggest thing is that when he died, and I knew like what his journey meant to him, I didn't want him to be forgotten, and I just didn't want his life to be kind of like, well, that's it. He's gone, and so what was the point? And maybe searching for the answers. Why was he killed? Why him? Um, and obviously the support of my family, his friends. That the support is what got me through, I would say. I was able to have that time to grieve in my own way, but also had the support of my family, my friends, his family, his friends, and that really helped me. I also threw myself into fundraising. So it was like I was trying to search for that purpose of why he was killed. So yeah, just threw myself into fundraising, loads, thousands and thousands of pounds for like the Royal Marines Association, and that's kind of when I went back into that veterans world. I just wanted that connection. I still wanted that connection with him, but also searching of why. And then I found a group of local veterans in the community, that used to meet for a coffee on a Tuesday. Lovely, lovely people. And then it just kind of grew from there. It was like I was moving kind of like in the veteran space, getting to know people, finding that there's a need there, and then obviously then taking his dream. So that's again is another story, is taking like Paul's dream and kind of fitting it into a legacy.
Yeah. Yeah. So Woody's definitely is, you know, a legacy to him, isn't it? I think. Which is that what, obviously, is that what inspired you in founding it? And was there a moment that you knew this had to happen because it, you know, the need for it, the
So
finding your purpose and all that?
yes, I guess so. I think it was just a journey that I've been on. So Paul's dream was always to take, after he'd left the military, was to take me and our family into a log cabin in the middle of like Bracken. He did say Alaska back then, but I probably would
Not,
have gone
not yet.
actually. Yeah, I probably would have gone. It's some place that I feel like I need to visit in my life as well because of that. But I think he just wanted a small holding because he had this vision that when he left the military, he would become an alcoholic, mental health issues, you know, all these sort of negative things. And he just wanted to have structure and routine to his day, which is why I think he wanted the small holding and, you know, routine. So that's kind of that's what his dream was. And then, yeah, once I started going to like the community groups and we were having teas and coffees and meeting weekly, I was like, there needs to be a space like that for veterans. And it always stuck in my mind that because he never drunk either. So for him to think that that's how he was going to be when he left the military, that kind of always stuck with me. I've had my own struggles, like I've said previously, leaving the military. So I just felt like it all just fit together. Like they just needed a space where veterans could go, they could have support, camaraderie, and have a sense of purpose and belonging.
Yeah. No, I can see that. And obviously, Woody's Lodge is spanned beyond that one lodge now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And I've seen the impact and heard the stories of what the charity's done, which is amazing. It's saved lives. But what's potentially one moment or story in the Woody's history that sticks in your mind?
That was impactful for me. But there's very rarely a moment where I can sit and reflect on what's happened. And I think that's a downside to me. I don't reflect enough. But specifically, one moment was when we had two veterans living with dementia, and they come every Monday and every Thursday. And this particular time, we weren't going to have transport for 2 weeks. And they both sat together on the chair, on a sofa. And because we didn't have transport, the other one said to them, do you have a mobile number? So they'd both got these big mobile phone flip phones out. They were exchanging numbers and they said that they can ring each other at any point. And it was because they knew that they were going to be lonely for the 2 weeks that we didn't have transport to come and pick them up and take them to Woody's Lodge. They wanted to make sure that they had contact with each other during that period. And these are two aged veterans living with dementia, both in care homes. And I just sat there and I did cry a little bit because I very rarely cry, but it did definitely pull on my heartstrings. And I was like, my word, this is what it's all about. And even just that one moment where they connected, they found a connection and they thought, let's ring each other because we're not going to see each other for 2 weeks. That was amazing. And even watching them like put their mobile numbers into each other's
Yeah.
phones, I was like, oh God.
That's where I guess led to my next question, where Woody's is sort of breaking barriers, and I think that's exactly where it is, isn't it? It's built a community in some of the rural areas of Wales as well, and it's connected people back up, which is vital, isn't it? I mean, I know when I've been to the lodge, some of the chats I've had with the older veterans have been remarkable. Their stories are just...
And they're so matter of fact as well. Like some of the stuff they say, I'm sat there and I'm like, how can somebody just live through that, then have a massive family with like 20, 30 grandchildren, great grandchildren, and it's only surfacing now? Like, with their Alzheimer's, their dementia, like it's only surfacing now, and we're seeing that, and it's just, yeah, it's so profound.
Yeah,
Listening to those
it
stories.
is. Yeah, I mean, I love it when I can come down and chat, and it's remarkable. It definitely is needed. But so, where do you think the most urgent needs are that you're seeing between veterans and their families?
So I would say mental health support, housing needs, and benefits. Like they're the sort of the three that we see a lot. And I think it's as simple as navigating the system. I think sometimes the healthcare systems and, the local authority systems and stuff, they're very complicated. And if you can sit down with somebody that has mental health issues and you can do that referral for them, or you can help fill them out a form, or you can literally prioritize their need, then that's what helps. It's just giving them the time and the space to be able to understand where they need to go and what they need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the mental health is the obvious one, isn't it? That we are kind of, as in veterans are labelled with, because but it's not all that as well. It's the other things that make life easier, like as you say, access to, and a lot of these older veterans. I mean, I'm not amazing at tech, but the older ones,
Yeah.
and it's all online nowadays, isn't it? And
Yeah,
and they
exactly.
can't just go and knock on someone's door and like they used to. So it's so vital, especially your hubs that you've got around Wales where they can come, and Wales is connected, but there's still a lot of dead spots, isn't there? And there's
Yeah,
still
there
not
is
fibre everywhere.
power. Yeah,
And your 70, 80, 90-year-old veteran doesn't want to get online.
yeah.
So yeah, it's vital, and I think it's something that's missed. But hopefully, with the rollout of some of the new operations, they're calling them, aren't they?
Yeah, no,
It
that
might
definitely
help.
that would help.
Yeah. So how do you sort of provide, you've touched on it, how do you support the veterans through sort of personal life and the trauma that they've lived through?
Me personally, I think it's because we have a great team. We've got good support networks. We work well as a team. And for me, like if I'm listening like on a daily basis of veterans that are suffering with mental health or they've had their own trauma, I just have to make sure that I put boundaries in place and not take everything too personally.
Yeah. It's interesting how I just love how all the different little veteran charities fit together, and then you've got the bigger ones that you can. So it's really like how I guess the military operate, which is quite unique sometimes within charity, because charities sometimes scrap amongst themselves, but
Yeah,
the
definitely.
military charities don't seem to be like that.
I think definitely in Wales, I think a lot of the organisations that are set up in Wales, the charities that are set up in Wales, they're all from low ranking people, veterans that leave the military. Like I was an operator mechanic. I mean, I'm not academic at all. So I feel like a lot of these organisations have been set up with the best intentions and just to help veterans in the simplest way. And I think we all champion each other. I think we all turn up at these meetings. We all want each other to do well. And equally, if there's a veteran that we can't support or we're not right for that veteran, then we would love for that veteran to go to another organisation or vice versa. I just think we just work really well together, and we just want the best for that veteran at that time and what their needs are.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've seen it firsthand, and you see it on a daily basis. And Woody's definitely creates a sense of belonging, which is what you went out to create, wasn't it? A safe space. So why do you think it's so crucial that we involve veterans and their families?
I think that it starts at home. Like, obviously, from my experience, seeing my mum suffering, my dad's gone away. Also, like, people that have been in the military 20 to 30 plus years and then coming home, and the wife has had to hold the family together, and she's got her own routine, her way of doing things, and the veteran, and not just, I'm just thinking the other way around as well, males at home, but it's like they are also holding the fort. And I think it's just as important for the families as it is for the veteran to get that support. And sometimes the veterans are very stubborn in terms of wanting to get that support, get the right support. And it's the people at home and it's the families that understand that there's an issue or understand that they need support with something. So it's so important that we also look after the family.
Yeah, definitely. Because you see some remarkable veterans out there, and there's always a strong partner that's held them up, isn't there? I think, which is really important to not just focus on, to focus on the whole community, if you like, the wider forces community. So what do you think that civilians really could do to support and understand our community better?
I think even at the basic level is just understanding what a veteran is like, and looking at the positive side of the skill sets and the amazing, what's the word I'm looking for? Skills that they have and that they were given whilst in the military as well, especially from employment point of view as well. Their loyalty, their discipline, their timekeeping, all of that is positive attributes that a veteran has. And I just think that maybe the media portray veterans to be in a negative way sometimes. And I think it's just changing the narrative and being positive about a veteran and what a veteran can give to an organisation.
Yeah, I know when I look at CVs, even now, and I see that they've done some military service, for me, that they're getting an interview no matter what.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have issues, and I can say, because I can read around what a section commander was or what a platoon sergeant was, but I think the issue sometimes is civilians not knowing that a sergeant's middle management, if not going up to upper management, which is where the translation, and I think that's where charities help, because transition workshops, when we leave,
Exactly.
don't believe they've got much better. I might be wrong, but I'm still getting CVs across that's still saying I was a section corporal, and it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So it is the charities, I think, that help, even if you don't think you need help. I think just having that little connection, because I know when I left, I was like, nothing to do with the military ever again. I'm not interested. And off I went. But I don't think you can ever cut those ties. You might be able to do it for a few years, but it's ingrained.
Always come back. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So as a female CEO, realistically, in the veteran community, what do you think your biggest sort of, I'd say, leadership lessons or leadership challenges that you've come across? Because it is a very male dominated space.
Yeah, to be honest, I feel like I have imposter syndrome, and that's what I've struggled with. So I feel like that has taken over more when I turn up at these events and things. I feel like an imposter. I feel like I'm not academic. People ask me questions and I'm not going to know the answer to. Like, all of that goes round in my head constantly, and that's what I battle with. But what I have to remember is why we set the charity up, what the legacy is, and what my story is. And I just think if I remain true to that, then the charity is just going to carry on and get bigger, and it's just going to be a great legacy for Paul.
Yeah, definitely. I think the strengths that I can see with you is probably humility. You know, we are, as we started the podcast, a little bit quieter. I know I'm a Scouser, so I'm a bit louder, but we are a little bit quieter, and sometimes we don't bang our drums as not enough. But I
Yeah,
think that probably serves you well in that space, because, you know, to be silent and quiet, it often makes you come across more powerful sometimes.
yeah, I think so. And I think everybody knows I've got a story to tell, and I think they're very interested in that story and where we've got to.
Yeah, so, I mean, Woody's Lodge is a brilliant charity, obviously.
Thank you.
I'm going to say that it's changed lives, it's saved lives, you know, it's helped countless people. But where do you hope the legacy goes with Woody's Lodge? You know, do we want to expand it over the water to Liverpool? I'd love it if we could make that step. But what do you think?
I mean, I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure we would love to see that at some point. I think we are in that stage where we're kind of learning from what we've achieved so far. I think we grew really big really quickly, and we're trying to sort of like get back to a stage where we're not reinventing, but, you know, learning from all the projects that we've got so we can be the best of what we want to be and what we want to achieve. So I feel like at the moment we're staying in Wales only. And obviously we'd never say no to anybody that needs any support, but I know that there are steps to take over the border, and I think that may happen sooner rather than later, but not on a wider scale. But yeah, who knows what the future holds, but
I'm always in Wales. I'm always trying to move to Wales. So, but
we'll have you, it's fine.
yeah, well, if I'm from Real, I sound more Scouse than a Scouser. So.
That's true.
But I love that, really. You've recognised you don't want to, and a lot of people and companies and charities do get a massive success and then they expand too quickly and then they can't cope with the workload and stuff. So it's great that you've recognised that and you're honing in on the charity's strengths and core, and not trying to push out and try and do, you know, we've got charities like Safa that can do that. And, you know.
And ultimately, we just want to inspire others to support and understand veterans. So, you know, if that's what we achieve going forward, then, you know, we've reached our goal, really. But if I ever step down, I know that that's what we've achieved, and that's Paul's legacy. So,
yeah, without doubt, you should be. I'm sure you are very proud. You probably don't give yourself enough of a break to be proud of it. So what message would you like to share with, you know, veterans, wider military community, the spouses, the widows, who may feel lost or forgotten?
I would probably say just don't give up. Find your community, find your support. Not every organisation or every person is right for you. So don't give up and always communicate. Communication is so important.
Yeah, I think it's all about connection, really, isn't it? And in this world where we're apparently so connected in technology, we sometimes feel very alone because we're not connecting in the core ways that humans should be connecting.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is why Woody's is such, you know, that's what it does on the tin. and it doesn't do it around drinking. It doesn't do it around. It does it around socialization, and even the phone signal's not that good, so you can't be on.
Clear.
Is that on purpose?
No, it's nice actually to, very rarely are people on their phones, and if they are, it's because they're sorting out a parking ticket or something, But other than that, the banter and the camaraderie and the activities, it's all there for them.
Yeah. Who was your, or did you have a role? You must have had a role model or superhero, even if you've got one now. Some people didn't have them as a child, but who made a difference to your life?
So I think you're going to laugh at this, and that actually probably goes back to the air hostess and the girly ways that I am, is the Spice Girls.
Which one?
Victoria Beckham. Do you know what? The Spice Girl music was like my thing. I would say I don't really listen to music now, and I think because it resonates so much emotion with me. But growing up, I used to listen a lot to music, and always there on a Sunday recording my 40 chart. Stop, start, stop, start. Yeah. So I would say the Spice Girls, because they were like girl power, and they were strong and independent, and that's kind of what I wanted to be. I just wanted to break away from my family. I wanted to be independent, and I'd probably say the Spice Girls. And I'm still very interested in Victoria Beckham and her story and kind of how she goes. Not many people rate her as a person, but I've always found her very funny. And I've always kind of looked past those negative things with her.
Yeah. I think to be fair, they were the first, as you say, girl power group, and they were quite as inspiring. Although you might look back and some of the songs might be tacky, but at the time, they were the only girl bands that was giving that message out. So
my daughter will sing on a daily basis one of their songs, Mama, and for me, that's my life made. I'm like, my daughter is now singing me that song that I used to sing to my mum, so I'm happy.
Full
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, yeah, I love that.
You weren't expecting that one, were you?
I wasn't, but yeah, no. I've met Mel C. She's very nice.
Have you? How exciting.
Yeah. She's Liverpool royalty, isn't she?
Yeah.
They're still doing incredible things. Yeah. Yeah, no. Interesting one.
Yep.
Yeah. So what do you think we haven't talked about that we should have talked about?
What? Do you know what? I don't know. I think we've discussed quite a few things.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got it in a nutshell, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So where can we find you or Woody's online? What's the best place if somebody wants to reach out?
So I'm on Instagram personally myself, and then Woody's Lodge is on all social media platforms. So look up Woody's Lodge and then just drop us a message.
You are on all networks, even TikTok.
Apparently so.
I tag you in on TikTok.
Oh, do you?
I don't know what I'm doing on TikTok, but yeah.
No, same.
I just film beautiful walks in Wales. That's all I do on it. So the podcast called Beyond the Barracks. What does Beyond the Barracks mean to you?
I think it means that it's the life which has shaped you as a person post-military. That's what it means to me.
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely, our veteran life shapes us, and that might only be a really small chapter, but it's what we all do, and the incredible things that veterans and the military community do after they leave is often, from what I've seen, like tenfold on what we do during our service. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And I really love getting the story of Woody across, and
thank you.
The story of the charity and how crucial it is to Wales, and soon, hopefully, the world. or Liverpool. I keep pushing.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. Yeah, but no, thank you for having me, and I am now happy that I've done my first podcast.
Yeah, and thanks for coming on and doing your first podcast with me. That's even more of a legacy now.
Yeah, that's it. The only way is up from here.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you, Gina.
Bye.
Bye.